Notices. Okay. To get conservation. Oh, Krug. It probably closed. Okay. There you go. All right. Morning, Russ.
Good morning.
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 Morning, all.
Okay. Let me just be sure we're recording. Cloud. Yep, we are. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's 8:30. I'd like to take a roll call. Russ Kimes,
Present.
Kathleen Corbett,
Here.
William Parrott. Bill, you're on mute.
Here, Zoom.
Okay, very good. All right, super. Thank you so much. I sent around just prior to this meeting, I made some more edits to the meeting minutes. We did post a draft set, so we comply. Have a look at them, please, if you don't have a chance, and come back with any changes.
Did you get my notes from? I guess I sent them yesterday.
Oh, I didn't look yesterday. Did you?
Oh, okay.
I'll take a look. I will. I'll update them today. No problem. Perfect. Anyone have any other notes? I'll do that after this meeting.
No, I'm gonna have time to review it this weekend. I've got a budget meeting tomorrow after work, and so my intent is to have it this weekend, Saturday, and I'll provide all the feedback.
Okay, no
Okay.
problem.
So
Super.
just name, spelling, both
Yeah, I cleaned up those.
Bill,
Yep,
Billing and me. Okay, thanks.
no problem. Okay, so last where we left off, we have spoken to the fire commission. We had a great conversation too with the ethics board. I thought to make it easier, we could go over any changes to those. I think those are going to be easier to do. With some updates, I would suggest we start with the fire commission. I will share that in a sec. Then go to the ethics board, and then continue our dialogue on Article 2, which is town officers. And then begin discussion on audit, which we had agreed to basically extract out of finance and make it its own article. And then also maybe do an easy one, conservation. So if we have time. Okay.
Good night. That
Sure.
sounds good. Sounds good to me. I just wanted to let you know, and I haven't posted it yet because I wanted to see who's available here. Finally heard back from the chair of the Board of Finance. He's available on Monday, this coming Monday, at 8:30 a.m. And he's going to do it from his office. He's agreed to do it obviously on Zoom, and I'd post it, and we'll keep a video copy, etc. Unfortunately, I think that date is the only one that works for him, and I know it might not work for some of you. So I just thought I'd put it out there. Happy to go through. He's just doing a line by line of the Board of Finance's article. I don't know if he's extended the invitation to anybody else on the Board of Finance, but I'll do so if this is acceptable to you. I'll do so and invite them to either participate on Zoom or submit their comments to us.
Fine
Any-
with me.
So
I can make.
Mondays, sorry, go ahead, Bill.
I just say fine with me. I can make it Monday 8:30.
Yeah,
Monday is tough for me. I do fire inspections that day, so it'll be really dependent upon what's on the slate for fire inspections, but I may be in and out.
okay, very good.
I'll have to
And Jen?
check.
Okay,
I think I can move something.
okay, that's very good. I appreciate everybody's accommodation there, and hard to get somebody to commit their time, especially when they're working full time. And so we appreciate the finance chair's ability to meet with us. So I'll get that posted today.
Kathleen, I
Okay,
think
so
it might,
no,
might be good if we sort of define how much time we're going to spend. What do you think? A half an hour is enough? I'm not trying to limit them. I'm
It's
just saying
probably-
less time.
No,
is-
no, I understand. Just an hour. I will try to cap it at an hour because I don't know if anybody else from the Board of Finance will also want to participate. So that's why, yes, we could probably do it in a half an hour, but I think I'll carve out an hour if that's okay.
Yeah, well, maybe tell Todd that
I
if
will.
he could present in a half an hour, so we could have time for questions or something like that.
Exactly.
Last time it
Yeah.
really dragged on, right?
Yeah, no, we want to be very specific about the charter at this discussion. So you're right. Yep,
okay. So you'll
Alright.
notice that.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, and then the other housekeeping item is the two ZBA people would like to have an evening Zoom call.
Right.
I will go out to them. And can any of you tell me anything that is precluding you any day? I will go out and offer some times. So is there like Thursday night's not good for me. I play tennis. So
What
Thursdays
time?
are
anyone
always
have any
bad.
others?
What
I'm
time
sorry?
frame are we talking about?
It's just to be an hour total.
This coming week?
Maybe. Yep. We'll try to get it done this coming week. So is there anything
I
blocking
just
you?
can't do Tuesday. That's all.
Okay.
I have another conflict.
Yeah, Tuesday night and Thursday night. I have fire commission Tuesday and the volunteer fire drill Thursday night. So those two are out.
And
How's-
one more question. What time slot you think you're talking about?
Probably something like 6:30 to 7:30. I'll make it on the earlier side.
Yeah, seven would be better.
Okay.
In the sense of then I think I'm free most nights, or no, I'll do my best is what I'm getting at.
Okay, so Tuesday, Thursdays are out. So we'll try Monday, Wednesdays for
Yep.
next week at 7.
Okay.
I will go out and do that. Thanks. All right, excellent.
Done.
And then overall, how we're doing, I think we have 2 this afternoon. One starting at 3:30 with Beth Jones, and thank you, Russ, for your note. And then we have another one this afternoon at 4 with Jack Horner.
Yeah. I'll do my
Okay.
best to attend those. I'm not sure, but I'll do my best. Mhm.
No problem.
Are those so those are 2 former commissioners? Anyone from the existing commission scheduled or not yet? Or
Not
maybe they're not interested.
not interested so far.
Not
And
interested.
that was across the 3 of them, Sven, Josai, and okay.
Okay. Was it? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Okay. That's fine.
All righty. So let's do easy peasy first. So I think we made great tracks on the fire commission. That was a great interview. And I will get up that dialogue. Hold on. I have too many things up. Apologies. I had this all prepped. And I am. Oh, I have one question. Did we get anything up from the Nick yet on term limits? Okay.
No, I was just checking that and I haven't seen it. I'm going to call him after this meeting because I've asked him to put everything he was going to discuss with us on Tuesday's meeting. And so he's going to put that in writing and submit it to the full commission. I haven't seen it yet. So,
Kathleen, one question was sort of in my mind, really unrelated to today's topics, but just across everything we're doing or everything the town's doing. When the town has, in business, people come in like general counsel, CFOs, other specialties, and they give their opinion, and they're generally credentialed in their particular area. We understand what it is. They have a responsibility. It's a legal responsibility, pretty well laid out. I think I understand if you're a first select person or member of one of the 3 selectmen, or if you're the finance director, or if you're in Russ's job, you've got some roles and responsibilities. But when a committee is formed, like the finance committee, like planning and zoning, finance is probably easy to talk about. Todd was talking about, well, one member reads the legal stuff, somebody else does something else. I'm just not sure if, like, when you get you're not really getting I presume you're not really getting a legal opinion from the volunteer that the bond offering is, okay to be filed and signed. And
correct.
I'm just so like, who is it that does that for the town? I mean, like, who is it that says it's okay?
There's bond counsel I mean, that particular example, there's bond counsel.
Yeah,
And
in that example, but it's not the committee per se, right?
no, but to your point, I think what the chair is looking for. Hold on, I lost all of you here for a sec.
No, I
So
think
did I.
Okay.
It's someone's sharing their screen, that's why.
yeah, I can see it. I can see it, Captain. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, sorry. So I think what Todd was referring to is that every commission, the diversity of talent is
Yeah, yeah.
obviously helpful. And, in my own case, when I was on Board of Finance, and we were looking at bond issuance and so forth, I'm not a lawyer, but I read it, completely, and I have some familiarity with bonds, and so shared, any comments or what have you. But it's not dependent on any one particular skill. I think everybody has it's I think the benefit to any, and now broadly speaking, any board or commission which has not everybody's an attorney or not everybody
Yeah,
is
yeah.
real estate person. I think it's the benefit of having that talent. But you're absolutely right. There's nothing that says you're going to rely on a single person to
I mean, in theory, and just understanding, I'm not suggesting it's a good idea.
Yeah.
In theory, you don't need the finance committee per se in order because they're not bringing a level. The town should have its own resources to be able to do that. It's a
To do what? Sorry.
well, to do anything to review the finance. I'm not saying we should do away with committees. I'm not getting into elected versus appointed. I'm just saying that uh, for clarity purposes, the fact that when Todd talks about having these different expertise, it's for ease of the committee, is for distribution of workload amongst the committee. But the town's relying on the fact they have a committee, but not the expertise of any particular member.
I think, well, as the charter states, the Board of Finance is a very important
No,
part of it. Yeah. And the
but
town obviously
if they didn't have any
respects.
lawyers on it, if it didn't have any
Yeah.
lawyers on it, it may not be a good idea, but it really wouldn't matter, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, I understand your point. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It,
Okay,
it's been
let's
made
go.
clearly by all of the interviewees, though, that that's a tremendous value that is
Oh,
provided by those
yeah.
individuals.
Yeah. No, I think, I don't think, Russ,
I
for
think
sure, I
your
don't think,
point for legal opinions are sought by
yeah,
professional legal that are high.
I don't
Yeah.
think, I don't think it'd be good to have a finance committee with everybody who expertise was to be a firefighter. That wouldn't be helpful, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. It wouldn't be good to have the fire commission
And
with
that doesn't exist. Yeah.
expertise be an
Yeah.
accountant. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
got it.
Your hypothetical doesn't exist, but yeah, I get your point. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's move on.
All right. Burp. I'm going to leave you. Sorry.
So Jennifer, I think if you probably already know this, if you're going to do a second sign on, if muting is not enough, you actually have to say no audio.
I know. I need to leave. I'll be right back. Let me get rid of this one.
I can log in with the town account to,
I'm
I'm
gonna
logged in as
leave-
anonymous right now.
There you go. You should
There.
do it. Are
So
we
just
still
when you do
recording?
that,
We
don't
are.
join audio. It's gonna ask you
Correct.
to join
Yeah.
audio. Just don't join audio.
No, it's having trouble sharing.
You have to authorize it as a co-host or enable sharing for the entire meeting.
Yeah, I did. It's being very finicky. I'm going to send you the document, Russ, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I don't know why this is not working this morning. Apologies. I will.
Finicky.
I was here at 8:16, so I was hoping I practiced. I don't know what happened.
Not a problem. You are more advanced than I would be.
All right. Thank you, Russ. All right. So we met with the fire commission. We basically had a dialogue around the various number of fire commissioners, if you recall. So Russ, I'm sending you the fire commission. Thank you.
Okay.
There we go.
Are these your changes, Jen, you're setting, or
Yes,
suggested
there's a changes. So just okay. So what I did was I know we I put some into Redline. So they are there. Very easy to do. And Russ, once you start, you'll see.
Yeah, I just received it.
Thank you, Russ. You'll see I made a number of changes in the red line. Pretty
Can
simple.
you enable sharing for my account, or I'll back out and log in with the town login?
Okay.
Make me a co-host or a host. Either
Yep.
or.
Yep. I'm making you the host. I'll
Okay,
make you a co-host. There you go.
yep, either way.
Fine.
Okay.
Great. And can you turn on track changes?
Yep. I just have to
Perfect.
maneuver things here.
There you go. Thank you, Russ.
Yep.
Super. So the one item we didn't discuss, so I changed 3 to 5, you'll see. And then
That was he was both ways on that. Just out of he
Yep.
said he was non-committal. It was a discussion and an exploration, and that either way he ends up there's positives and negatives to both, because it was really about being able to have discussions with commissioners without having to have a full meeting. But if he, to his point, said that if he goes to 5, then it just means more people he's got to communicate with.
I also think he also said too that it was actually new ideas, new people, right?
That was also floated. His
Yep.
initial statement was that he could go either way, for clarification.
Yep. So what do we think of that change?
If I can offer, I would suggest, particularly as we put it up to the full commission for discussion, is that maybe we annotate this rather than striking out 3, is putting a bracketed 5 right next to the word 3, so that we know as a commission when we're reviewing this, and plus we haven't had the benefit of hearing from the 2 former commission members. That's later this afternoon. So I'd rather hold off on, whether or not we as a group think we should go to 5, but I'd like to put that as a marker and say, this is subject to discussion. It's a big thing. This would be a ballot change if we went from 3 to 5. So significant conversation by the Charter Revision Commission is appropriate here. So rather than striking it out as a suggestion, I would add the word 5 in brackets for further discussion.
Okay. The next point that we were talking about with him is who does he report to? This is one of the commissions that doesn't have a clear line of reporting.
I think it was not the commission was his point. His point was that he himself reports to the commission currently, but also takes guidance from the first selectman. So it wasn't so much about the commission, it was about the chief himself.
Right. And again, just for further clarification, I think one of the primary differences on this particular commission and the police commission, all the others actually have the first select man as a ex officio. And so the proposal might be for consideration is that for this, and others can talk to the police commission as well. We bring it up to the full commission, but is whether or not the first selectman should be ex officio on this commission. And
yeah, Bill brought that point up, that was a parallel he saw in New York.
Yeah.
So.
Bill. Yes, Bill.
Bill Parrott, not our Bill Parrott, the other Bill Parrott.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So that would be, and we can circle back on that too, and certainly we'll hear it from the 2 former commissioners this afternoon, pluses and minuses. But that would be having a commission report to the first selectman. That doesn't exist in any body, and so what does exist is the ex officio status.
Is ex officio defined somewhere?
I can send you language for that. It's not defined in the particular charter. Ex officio is a standard means of office.
What does it mean in the town of New Canaan to be ex officio?
So
no, yeah. What does it mean?
Yeah, ex officio is a standard term. Means it's Latin for of office, and it is they don't generally have any voting rights except in the case of breaking a tie. But they're representing, think of it as this, they're representing their office, and the connective tissue, if you will, between all the other departments and commissions and so forth for the town. So offering their perspective. Their first selectman is ex officio on board of finance, as you know, and they're able to say, gee, this is what's happening in town, and the same thing is would be true. And I think in practice, we can verify this with the first selectman, but in practice, I think they attend the commission meetings anyway, and hopefully are invited to share their thoughts and so forth. So they
But the
do
fire
not.
commission, but if someone's ex officio using the fire commission because that's in front of us, that would not satisfy reports to the first selectman.
No.
It's,
It
they don't.
depends on, it
No.
depends on whether ex officio can be a voting member or not a voting member. You can define it either way. It just means by the office they hold, that means they also sit on whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
you would destructure whether they actually have voting capability or not. That was recently for first selectman in the most recent charter review taken away. So they sit there, they advise, but they do not have a voting. I think except for a tie, right, Kathleen?
Correct.
Right.
For
So
all
if
boards
we,
and commissions, they're ex
yeah, so
officio.
if we're using ex
Thank you.
officio, if we're using ex officio, they sit there and advise, but don't have to be listened to. But certainly that commission, whichever one it is, doesn't
Right.
report to anybody.
Right.
None of the commissions here report to anybody. Yeah. Yep.
They report to them when they get reappointed. If they don't like the decisions, that's when they can be
Yeah.
removed and someone else put in place across all the boards and commissions.
Yeah.
But I think
So
Phil, are you going to the point, I think, which was interesting to us with that was, the escalation channel, the basically reporting channels. Maybe that's something you and I are very used to, which is why I put this in here. Because I've got to be honest too, and having now read a number of these charters, I am not seeing a lot of ex officio language, for instance, in Fairfield and others. You just don't see a lot of ex officios. There's more, what I've seen as I've read through some of these, the latest being Fairfield, is the lines of reporting are very clear in a sense. They are very spelled out, and you can easily understand who reports to whom, or who is the next level up in terms of escalation or decision making.
Yeah. By the way, to me, it doesn't have to be the first selectman. I mean, if it was the selectmen, but I mean, I find it incredible that you have a group of people, whatever the group is, doesn't report to anybody. I mean, I just find it incredible.
okay, well, again, we can take this up further, but making this change is again a ballot issue, and it would you'd have to go back and apply it to all boards and commissions for consistency's sake. But
Well, I mean, maybe not, because I mean, like the fire department is like really important. The police department is like really important. I mean,
so that's different. That's you're talking about departments and who should, say, the police chief report to, right?
well, I mean,
And not the
it's
commission, right?
well that's correct, but it really is sort of both. But I'm just saying look, if you tell Kathleen, you're the specialist here. If you say we have to go across all departments, okay, I got it. But I'm just saying, there are some departments and commissions which are really, in my mind, much more important than others. That's all I would say. But I'm happy if you wanted to make it to the selectmen or something, but it just seems, I don't know, I just can't understand how you can have a commission that doesn't report to anybody.
Okay, and again, I just want to make sure that we are understanding the two different points. You've got a department and who they're report to, and in this case, and in the police department's case, they report to the commissions.
Right.
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 So, and then so the first question is, does that work? Is that how it should be? Well, if the first select person doesn't serve on either of those commissions, there really isn't any direct accountability, if you will, from the department to the first selectman. And
Yeah, I
again,
think
I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just pointing out that
No,
what
I agree.
exists, right?
I mean, if I was like if I was first selectman for a day, I mean, I think what I would do is I go to the other selectmen, if we had five of them or three of them, I'd say, you know, to me, it should be to the office of the selectman. And then I would ask, one commissioner, one selectman to be the fire, one to be the police, one to be the other, I don't think it has to be the person, but there has to be some
Yeah.
lines. That's all I'm saying.
Operational. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Some
maybe
some selectmen do that, by the way. Some first selectmen do that. Say, gee, you're on the board of selectmen, and can I ask you to be the point person for finance
Perfect.
or health and human
Perfect.
services? The allocation of time is
Yeah. Yeah.
can be done. That's operational. Yeah.
so
Very good.
I agree. I think Bill's point is very good, and I think that's part of what I partially heard that confounded me as well was, who do all these people report to whom, and how does this sort of work as a cohesive state? So if you don't mind, I will go and takeaway to sort of make a chart if we want to as we go through this to show, where we see clear lines, where we don't see clear lines, where there's ex officios. I'm happy to do that as a takeaway.
And Russ, don't be offended by this because we're talking about the fire department, but our job, I thought, was to do what we think is right in the charter, taking input. But just because someone says, I don't think I should report to somebody. I mean, I just think we should do what's right, right? I mean,
Absolutely no offense, and I'm keeping quiet because this is one where it's close to home. I
yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
help
yeah,
provide insight as to how it works,
yeah,
and I'm, sort of stepping back from this one a bit.
yeah, yeah. Kathleen, I don't think we should do this, but is there a history here how we got to this point, or was it one way and we changed it, or is this the way it's always been for the last 100 years? Or?
Not quite yet 100 years, but pretty
Oh,
darn close.
yeah,
But yes, I mean, this again, it's how does it operate? I'll have to go back to the 1935 charter to see, particularly on the fire commission, but it has evolved over time. But in terms of um, representation on the commission by the first selectman or board of selectmen, it's been empty, for some time now. And so again, our role is to say what's working, what's not working, and if we just to make something better, it still may require a full ballot, amendment, or ask the voters to decide. And so we have to kind of focus on what's the most critical ones. Otherwise, the ballot is going to be as long as the charter itself. So we, in this particular case, I think further discussion among the commission members and the first selectman, I think warrants further discussion beyond just the members here of this group.
Yeah, I
That's
think
fine.
your point is very valid. This is a great question to ask the first selectman. If we circle back to say, do they feel they have enough influence, whatever, with the current mechanism to manage that realm? And I just did a presentation where we did as the volunteers. The fire commission was added to the charter in 1963. So there you go.
Oh, great, thank you. And so, and this structure, then just take one step further, Russ, has basically been the way it's been since that time. Actually, probably earlier, but added to the,
Probably, yeah.
yeah. Okay,
So let me go make the
I've only done
chart.
it for 27 years, and it's been pretty much the same for 27 years.
All right.
Little tweaks and things, but
yeah. And I think it works right now, the way it does, but I think it could be better. And I think some engagement by the first selectman and codified in
Well,
this is probably
I'm
appropriate.
not, I'm not so sure it works. I'm not quite as far in the north of New Canaan as the team was talking about, but they said they could improve things by having a northern firehouse. And I mean, I hadn't heard about that before, but that's fine. So I just, I just want to make sure people are accountable because if we have a
Sure.
commission and they think we ought to have a northern firehouse, they don't report. So, we can always improve. So I'm sure it works. We have a great fire department. I told you about how they performed in my house. Great job, I thought. But I just want to improve it. That's all. That's
Yeah.
fine. Maybe it's okay the way it is. We ought to ask Deanna as well. What she
Exactly.
thinks. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Just as we said, we'll put it into brackets, but there was a suggestion of an annual report. And of course, if we go to 5, you'd have to change the quorum to 3.
So on the, excuse me, are you on 8.3, right? For the,
8.3.
yeah. And then the annual report, is that something that you are adding?
Yes.
So that
Okay.
was something that so for context, the chief historically, at least since Jack Hennessy, has provided an annual report on the fire services, usually just before budget season, and it talks about
Yes.
all the calls we go to, all the stuff we do. I hate to say, I'll be totally honest, part of it is substantiating our budget, right? Saying
Yeah.
why we exist as an organization. So that's actually done by the fire chief, who gives it to the commission, and then I don't know if the commission turns around and gives it to the first selectman, but it's certainly sent to everyone as part of the budgetary process, just to give you the
Correct.
mechanics of that.
So I lifted language that was in other sections where an annual report was actually submitted and it was formalized in those
Got it.
actual articles. So this is language that's lifted from other parts of our charter. Since we didn't see it in this part of the charter, it seemed like might be a good practice. And I think it also went to some of the questions Bill was asking about was, preparedness and other things, just to report on that as a generality.
With something like this, should it be statute first and then move up the charter? I'm just curious. I mean, it's in other places in the charter, but.
Well, the only other place that is in the charter, correct me if I'm wrong, obviously it's in the audit committee.
Sorry, ordinance. I said statute. That's state. You know what I mean.
Yeah. I think as a general practice, and as Russ, I've seen that report every year that I've been involved, whether in any Board of Finance, Town Council, Board of Selectmen. I mean, that annual report is always provided. And I think is Albie doing that too? The current chief? I know used to see it under Chief Hennessy.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I haven't
Yeah,
seen it,
it's a
but
great
that's
report.
my understanding.
It's a great report. And the only thing, I mean, if you wanted to put something like this, and again, it's additive. I think it happens anyway. It's not, the commission is not, doesn't have a report of their activities. The report of their activities is that they had meetings and listened to the chief. It's the chief's activities and the fire department's activities that are shared with the Board of Selectmen, the town council, and the Board of Finance each calendar year. And so I think it's just that's how it's operated for as long as I've been involved. And I don't think it's necessary in the charter because it's done anyway. And and that's really coming from the department, not from the commission.
Well, if we think it's a good idea, if we think it's a good idea to have it, why wouldn't we put it in there?
Because it's not from the commission, it's from the department.
So we can tweak the wording.
I'm just saying, if we think it's a good idea, it sounds like a good idea, then we should make sure it happens every year. And I just don't want somebody to say, well, no, it's not in the charter, so I don't have to do it. That's all.
Yeah, people don't operate that. If you have a department and you want to present to those bodies who are going to provide you with the budget that you're seeking, you put a
I
report
understand.
together. That's it.
No,
This
I
is
mean,
the
I understand.
commission, not the department.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's a big issue one way or the other, to be truthful. So, I mean, but I mean, why would we not? It's fine, but why would we not put it in rather than?
It's the commission. It's not the department.
Yeah, the only thing you would do is say that the chief provides to the commission on an annual
You could
basis.
Exactly,
a
tweak
report.
the wording.
But it's
I
already
mean-
happening, to Kathleen's point.
Yeah, but we want to make sure it perpetuates, right? I guess so that it continues. Particularly, we don't even know who the chief, the reporting lines. But hey, look, it's not. This
Right.
is. I don't need to spend an hour on it. We don't need to fight over every little thing. This is, it's fine.
Okay.
No, makes sense.
All right, why don't we move down? We'll table that one.
Hold
Then
on,
there was
just stop there. Just go up just a couple sentences there. It just very clearly says the commission shall supervise the management of the fire department. There's your chain of command there.
right, but I think it was who is the chain of command from the fire commission to?
No, I understand that. And that's a question that would be valid for everything. So, if we make a change, it'll be for all of them. But in this particular case, is who does the fire chief report to? In terms of supervision of the management, it's to the commission. And the question is, to what extent can the first selectman be engaged in that? And that's what group 3, there is a video of that where the first selectman is commenting on that as well.
Yep. Okay. So going on, I think this was a change of paid and paid. It was a clarification that was made that was
Yes,
asked
it's
for.
close. So the recommendation was, and this was actually what I was saying we should do, which is it go from, if you have a vacancy, it's the paid chief, then it should be the paid assistant chief, then the volunteer assistant chief. You don't want to take the volunteer assistant chief out because it's a very important position. So it just clearly delineates, you go from paid to volunteer in the event of a vacancy.
Okay.
That was discussed, I recall.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a little different than it is now. It's changed because right now I'm second. So when a chief goes out, I take over. But I think it makes sense. We got a full-time employee now who's doing it, who's incredibly capable. It still protects the volunteers that you have a volunteer assistant chief as a staff officer. So yeah.
Great. And I don't think there's anything else in this.
This was the thing. So I talked to Cheryl about this, and
yes.
she recommended, Cheryl's coming to talk to us, and I will recuse myself entirely from that conversation. But she has thoughts, and she said, "Don't change anything if you would mind without having a conversation with her, because I think she has some insight on this."
Right. So this change was based upon the feedback that the process that was outlined there before was not the actual process that's been outlined in the contract. So that was not part of the collective bargaining agreement contract. So all I did here was basically create a sentence that says the grievance and disciplinary process will follow the agreed process outlined, and this is actually the actual document name, I believe.
It is, and I think let's not propose it into the greater commission until we talk to Cheryl, because that hits her world heavily, and I think we should get that feedback.
When is she scheduled?
She is scheduled for,
I think.
Yep. Yes. I think though we can agree that number 4 doesn't actually reflect what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, it needs adjustment based on the chief's feedback.
So I'd bracket it and say, for discussion or however you want to highlight it. Definitely an item for further discussion.
Right. And I think what we were trying to do here was not to have to rewrite it all the time in case that collective bargaining agreement changes again on how it works. So to essentially refer it back to that bargaining agreement for then the guidance.
Correct.
Okay. Moving on, there was another small change that was asked for.
Yeah.
So this would go out because they're not a state fire marshal, they're a town fire marshal, but they are subject, as you have here, to Connecticut state law, and because their powers are derived through both. They report to the state fire marshal, it's one of those. So I think that it is a fire marshal who is an employee of the town who shall possess powers duly imposed upon by the officer of the state, Connecticut state law and ordinance. So burning permits us, fire investigation, fire code compliant state. I
see. Okay, so we'll change that.
So I had, from my notes was, fire marshal should just be fire marshal. And then I had duties imposed upon such officer by Connecticut state statutes, which I think is consistent with other language throughout the charter rather than Connecticut state law.
Makes sense.
And then ordinance, as I recall, I think it was from the chief, or maybe it was from you, Russ, that I wrote that somebody had added local ordinance. But I mean, ordinance of the town is local to me, so that's fine.
Right.
As it's stated. Just maybe Connecticut state statutes there, Jen, on the last line.
Sure. Very good. And I think that ends that one.
And until we hear from the commissioners this
Right.
afternoon. Right.
Well, we've made our
Yeah,
edits.
commissioners and Cheryl as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Russ, I sent you another one.
Okay, let me spool it up. Received. Stand by. Sharing. And review all.
Super. Thank you.
This is all markup, right? Oh, there are no changes on this one.
There should be.
Track changes isn't on this file. You may want to check to see if there's a different version that had your track changes on. Unless we double check, please stand by. No track changes on the file you sent to me.
Okay, let me send you another one then. No problem. Mhm. So why don't we just recap from what we heard from Allie?
Sure. Oh,
I'll put this up for reference even.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we don't have.
Here, just say this one again. Okay, here you go, Russ. You should be set.
Okay.
All right. So I don't think we got into great detail about the actual charter. We didn't go line by line with her, unlike the fire commission. The
That
squirrel.
has changes.
On the ethics
Or
board,
sharing.
if you want to put it up, I can take you through my notes.
Yeah, if you want to share, Kathleen? Either way.
I see it. Somebody sharing it. No, I got
I got
this is my
Oh,
scribble
your
note.
own. That would be difficult to share on the screen.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so starting on 14-5, ethics board, the 5 members, that's all pretty straightforward. I didn't have any comments there. This is more of a cleanup item, not necessary to change, but just you'll note that this was it's embedded in the section. It used to be called the personnel board under Article 14. And we modified that to be the ethics board. And so it remains in this section, and the title was changed to be Town Employees and Ethics Board. And it went from 3 members to 5 10 years ago. And you'll note here on 14-6, it references this was the first official day, December of 2016, where the actual ethics board was identified, codified, and expanded from the 3-member personnel board to the 5-member ethics board. So I'm fine with it still saying December 2016, but we might be able to just pick up the current language of how all boards and commissions just say, is the establishment of, how many members and the terms that they serve. We can just update that, and I can offer it for some language updates for that if you're willing to make that change.
So that in the year 2065, it doesn't still say 2016.
Yeah, exactly. And it's consistent with all the other existing boards and commissions in terms of how
Yeah.
how this body is put together. Okay, so that's my only comment on 14-6. Any other comments on 14-6?
If we, as I see and highlighted, if we are going to add alternates, which sounds like it's a good idea, we would have to obviously weave those into this section, so which is why I highlighted it in yellow.
Okay.
She was
And
supportive of it. It's just, man, they had, what is the likelihood they'll have that exact scenario happen again? But
I think it's
Yeah, you
important.
gotta stay on it.
Yeah, especially, they have a very prescribed timeline to which they need to
yeah,
answer to things. And I think
I'm,
that was part of the point I made last when we were meeting her. And not to be able to do that. And they do have very prescriptive sort of steps they need to take that
mhm.
are time-based. I think let's never find ourselves in that situation again, right? And I think they
Yeah,
do
fair
need a
point.
bench. I think Bill used the term, get a deeper bench. I think that was a good point. She seemed very receptive to it. My only suggestion is we would probably continue to keep it an odd number, because they're at 5, maybe add 2 alternates. I know P&Z, I believe, has 3 alternates. So,
And Board of Finance, same.
yep. So, one, I think once again, you don't want to be without at least some alternates. And once again, the alternates, we would need to then weave into the timepiece, the sequencing piece on 14-6. So what I did was just put some draft language together above, and where they talk about the composition in 14-5, about there shall be 2 alternates who will be electors of the town. The alternate shall hold no other office, et cetera, et cetera. Similar language that we have for alternates in our current charter. And then if a member is disqualified, the alternate will be seated in his place and shall have all powers and duties of a regular member. So just crafted some terminology there to define the alternates and then give them some powers.
I'm supportive of that. How does it work on PNC when an alternate is seated on a particular case? Does that person then stay with the case until it's resolved, or do they next meeting, all the regular people are there and therefore the alternate is no longer participating? How does I help me understand that?
It's actually a really good question. Very good question.
From what I've seen, mainly alternates are there throughout the entire case. And then
Okay.
they are only, in P&Z's example, seated for the vote, from what I've seen in the past. So alternates attend the meetings as if they were regular members. They
Okay.
don't hold any powers. The powers will be when they basically come to vote. The alternate is then called upon and made a regular member. Yeah.
If there's absence by one of the regular members.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a quorum to basically,
Right.
and if you think about it, you would never be a regular member who listens to a file and then recuses yourself. You normally recuse yourself up front. So that basically, they would then seat, the alternates would then be seated for the vote as well.
Right.
So let's say Jane Doe can't hear this because it's her neighbor, right? She recuses herself from the beginning of the presentation. Meanwhile, you still will always have a quorum. And then when it comes to the vote is normally when they're seated,
Okay.
at least for voting purposes. Yeah.
Okay. So similar, I would imagine then the alternates here and Board of Finance, very similar until there's a vote. You can participate, you're listening. You can,
Participate. Yep.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
participate,
Right.
you ask questions,
Yeah.
you are
Right.
engaged.
Right.
But where you then get to you'll be seated in the place and have all the powers and duties of a regular member, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which would then give you the ability to vote.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I makes sense to me, so.
Yeah, I'm very supportive of this. This is high touch stuff with a short time frame. They got to turn around, and it's happened. So
Yeah,
I think it works.
Okay. So now we just have to deal with the sequencing. If you notice, there's a very defined sequence set of who comes on and off in the section that I highlighted.
yeah, I think we should just, as I mentioned, I think, again, this really reflects dating and timing of coming on and off, back in 2016, 2017. And I think if we just update that now to be consistent with other boards and commissions in terms of the rotation of members, I think it should be fine. I think it's just a language change for that. It's not a ballot issue.
this was just to launch it, as it were.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll come back to you with some ideas on the 45 versus 60 days. What was that, Jen?
That was the timeliness to basically fill a vacancy. So if you recall, we had a discussion with Alexandra Alley about was 60 days too long to go find some new members?
Right.
And we need to also probably was 30 days better? Was 45 days better? She
Yeah.
did somewhat reflect that 60 days seemed to be a long time,
Right.
especially with the timeliness of what they need to do. Well, park
But
the
if you have the
mailboxes.
alternates, this is no longer an issue.
Right. So that was going to be my next point, which is if we do need to address this because it's not just about alternates, it's about resignation, death, removal, etc. Right? So if someone leaves the ethics board, excuse me, they do need this discusses a vacancy. So we'll probably need to look at this section as well.
Yeah. But I mean, sort of what would happen, and it's true for any board or commission that has alternates, the alternates move up to the position.
So I think we need to be explicit about that.
Yeah, whatever language is consistent where there are alternates, I think we should just pick that up here. And I think the 60 days, 45 days, I think 60 days is fine as long as we have the alternates. And that's I don't think it needs to change. But again,
Yeah, as long as you have the
that's not a big issue, but it's having the alternates is much
Right.
favorable.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Once you have the alternates, it solves this problem.
Yeah.
Well, it helps this problem. If you still have a vacancy, though, you have to fill the vacancy, right?
It's an automatic thing.
Because now you're going to either go find a new alternate, etc. Yep.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's
Yep.
You're never gonna find yourself in the same position you found yourself this year.
And then other than that, I didn't detect any other changes.
No, it was more tactical. It was like the post office box and operational stuff, which is not charter stuff, if I remember.
Correct.
So back to that report that we we're just talking about in terms of the commission. So a full and detailed record of all proceedings, acts, resolutions of the board, including votes, et cetera, and that I'm trying to recall if Ally mentioned that. Is that
This bit here?
It's in the charter.
14.7. Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes to the town clerk, nobody else. It's just let's just check that too. I don't recall seeing a specific report serving on any board or commission, so let's take a look at that. It says it's a public record, but I don't know if there's any report.
isn't the I thought that Ally was was on the question of the town clerk. Is that what's happening now at this report's being filed with the town clerk?
That's what it states, yes. And it's a public record.
And then Bill, to your point, it is actually on the website. If there is, because of the post office thing, which is separate and not in the charter, and I don't think it should be in the charter, but there is the I guess ethics complaint or whatever you want to call it is being given to the town clerk right now as we
Yeah,
speak.
but I guess I'm just getting at, as a town clerk is I don't know, elected official, I guess. I assume you call it independent, I'm not quite sure. But the ethics area is an area that lines reporting and who gets what and who can block what is really important. And I know that everybody just thinks we closed the post office box. I think that was a real big thing. I think that's a real big thing. So if the town clerk was to be appointed, I'm not sure what the heck we do, to be truthful with you.
I think you raise a good point.
I mean, I think I'd have to think about this further, but if the town clerk was appointed, I think I'd want to give the report to the town council.
Right. Where does it go?
Yep.
Should we, well, maybe for checks and balances, right? Controls.
Yeah.
Maybe we give it to both the clerk and the council.
Again, that would be an ordinance.
You could
That's
give
an
it,
ordinance change.
you could give it to both, because presumably, the first selectman gets it when it goes to the town council, I assume, but so, and again, it's not about Deanna, because this is something that's going to live on for decades,
Yeah, but it's an ordinance change, not a charter change. There's nothing in the charter. Yeah, it's ordinance.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
So the actual process about using a post office box or providing it to the town clerk, who then sends it to the ethics board, that's all in the ordinance.
No, I think I'm talking about the report.
Yeah, the actual report is by the charter to
Oh
go
yeah, the report for sure.
it's-
I thought Bill was speaking about how the when someone files a complaint.
No.
No, I think Bill's point is very valid, which is to say, if, and it's subject to, if a change is made to clerk to move it to appointed,
Right.
now you're going to an appointed position as opposed to, so you possibly, if it's moved somewhere else, this
Right.
should be addressed to make sure that it's impartial and it gets.
Yeah, no, that's how I understood what he was saying. Yeah, so
Got it.
I understood that he said, if somebody's filing a complaint and it's going to an elected town clerk, which again, in the ordinance, not in the charter. And it's then, if we found ourselves in a situation where the town clerk is actually appointed rather than elected, is that the appropriate chain, if you will? Is that what you're saying, Bill?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it has to go to somebody as independent as possible. I
Right.
mean, I guess I
Right.
don't know why we just can't keep the post office box and give the ethics committee
Yeah, I don't disagree, but that's in the ordinance that describes the process of how people file complaints and so forth. That's not in the charter.
I
But
actually
in the
don't.
charter, the report has to go to somebody independent of presumably the first selectman.
Okay, the report is, yes, that's separate. Right. The report's a public record. It's right now filed with the town clerk. But generally, and as we have in other boards and commissions, usually they come before the town council, the board of selectmen, or whatever, and just give that update. I mean, maybe that's not necessary. I don't know whether it's been done, but there is that report that's required, and I wouldn't change that. But I guess what you're saying, if the town clerk was, it's just filing with the town clerk. It's a public record. And whether that town clerk is appointed or elected, I don't think that's going to be a trigger here. But the actual filing of complaints to the ethics board, I think, you make a valid point. And Ally actually said that, gee, you're right. We no longer have that post office box. So
what can the town clerk sort of refuse to take the filing? I mean, could Claudia, I mean, whoever the town clerk is, sounds to me like some people would be concerned that, I just don't know, but can the town
Yeah.
clerk refuse to take, because this ethics board is supposed to be totally independent,
Correct.
not blocked by anybody. It was a great idea,
Correct.
Kathleen, when you put it in there.
It,
And I mean, I'm not even sure I like the word file. It's, send to is better because file, I'm asking if we could ask Claudia when she comes in, but
Yeah.
I think she can probably refuse to take things.
No, she
if
cannot.
I,
She can say
Kathleen, if I
it
can,
doesn't comply. It doesn't,
if I could throw in there, I think this is talking more about just like any other board and commission. And as Mike, please disagree with me if you think I'm wrong. This is just like any other board and commission, just like we have to do, post our minutes, our this, we scheduling and everything else with the
Right.
official record of the town versus what would be in, and I think Kathleen's point here, in the ordinance, which says that the process, the actual process and procedure for filing a complaint is outlined within ordinance, not within the charter itself.
Correct.
So the ordinance, which is done through town council, says that it is a written filing to the chair, and this is where the PO box lives. So it's a level down from charter.
I
Correct.
think we have two things here. We have a filing of all their works, right? Back on the
Yeah.
charter page,
Yes.
and a full copy and recording of all proceedings, actions, and resolutions. So this is the record of what they did, right?
Right.
Yes.
And my only one suggestion there is, should there also be a copy of that given to the town council for awareness? And then secondly, to your points, which is an ordinance, is the town clerk, if she went to appointed, then the right person to receive a complaint? Because we no longer have a PO box. And if let's say for some reason someone says we should be the ballot or whatever happens, the town clerk becomes appointed, who would be then the obvious person to then receive complaints?
Okay, that's again an ordinance.
Yeah, and to pull it
You
up
have to
here.
pick
So
that up
Bill,
on the ordinance. Yeah.
to Bill, go back. Here's determination. So this is the findings of their process. In ordinance is submitted to the town clerk, to the Board of Selectmen as deemed appropriate. So it's ordinance, not charter.
just leave
Okay.
it for a minute, just leave that.
Oops, sorry. Yeah. And if you go in, you can look at the ordinance. It's I don't know what section is. The whole thing is chapter 17, ethics code of ordinance, and it's all under there. It's a procedure really. A 17.4 and 17.5 is what the ordinance is that defines the procedure, the findings, and how it works, how the machine works.
Something, this is like really totally amazing. I'm just sorry. We have documents and documents and documents, and we can't even keep the post office box open.
I don't think it was we, Bill. It was
I don't think
the
it was
post
we.
office
We-
shut
we-
it down. The
Yeah,
post
no.
office shut it down. It
No, no.
was the town. I don't
Because-
think it's the town. The post office took it away for some reason. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no, because we didn't pay the bill.
We
Is
didn't
that what it
pay
was?
the bill.
Yeah, we didn't pay the bill.
Okay.
No,
It
I-
was
I-
intentionally shut down.
but Kathleen, in real life, away from the town, public life, on a board of directors, not paying the bill. I mean,
I know. Yeah. No, I understand. I did not realize that that's why it was shut down.
No, that's what she said. Yeah.
That we didn't pay the bill.
When the bill wasn't stopped being paid and who the bill went to.
So they should. But I mean, isn't that easy to ask the post office to read, or did they take the number 483 and gave it to somebody else? Is that what happened?
yeah, they just closed the box, and and so God forbid that you sent an ethics complaint to box 433, and they did, and Russ may now be reading your ethics complaint, or Bill might be reading your ethics complaint. But I mean, that's why I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get your point. I get your
I
point.
don't know
But
whether
again,
it's
the
ordinance or
ordinance needs to
commission.
be fixed, not the charter on that point. I agree.
Yeah, I just let the chair
Yeah.
be responsible for paying for the post office box and reimburse them. You put it in the charter, the ordinance, the way you want to do it. Or better yet, I'll just pay for it. I mean, it's
Exactly.
$50 a year.
I know. Yeah, that was a unfortunate slight, but they need to fix that. The town needs to fix that,
Yeah, town has got less time
or
writing.
change the ordinance to the right PO box number. Okay, and pay it.
Okay, I
Okay,
don't think there was anything else on this, Russ, if you don't mind.
Yes, ma'am. Closing down.
Okay, I sent you another one.
Okie dokie. Received.
So,
All
this
right.
Article 2,
Sharing screen. Yep.
this is still, I think, a work in progress. So we agreed, or we felt, I should say, that the C2-1 was a bit, and as I think Kathleen, you pointed out, it was a very old sentence section. So I just made some edits here to say added the Board of Education, which at the time had not been included. But you know what? When I looked at the language, because all these people are officers, what's interesting is I did play around with a little bit of the wording, because it made this distinction in this paragraph about elected and then made no mention of appointed. But if I recall correctly, all these people are officers, boards,
correct.
commissions, and committees. And there is, of course, later on in the charter, a sort of a carve out for, like, as I think you pointed out, TDAC. So I felt that if I took out all of whom shall be elected, I just put in the town officers shall be, and then put the entire definition just as that without that sentence. It actually, I think, might work better in the sense that the town officers shall be 3 selectmen, a treasurer, 2 registers of voters, a town clerk, the town council. We got rid of the 12. Board of Education, an assessor, a tax collector, and members of each of the various boards, commissions, committees of the town.
I think that's good.
I hate to,
Burst
just-
my bubble? Go
No,
on.
it's good.
I was just, I don't know why I didn't think about this when we talked about it, when I read it earlier, but we keep on hearing people say, which I think is there's truth to it, that people can't run for office. They work for a certain company, they can't run for office, they can't be elected, but they can be appointed. Okay,
Mm.
but I think if you went back to the company and said, they're not going to be elected, they're going to be appointed, but they're going to be an officer of the company. I'd say, really? And so I'm just wondering if we should just ask Nick to clarify this a little bit here. What are we trying to what are we trying to say here? I don't know. I mean, is it okay? Are all the commission or all the committees are all offices? Is that what we're saying?
All members
Yeah,
are
all
officers.
members, yeah.
And what's entitled, and because we all did this, we all went through it. When you're a town officer, you have an oath. You swear, to abide
Yeah.
the oath. You go through a pretty important process in terms of how meetings should be held, et cetera, et cetera. So the role of officers, and maybe this needs to be further defined, but again, just always look at the header, and the header is about town officers. And I think, Jen, as you correctly pointed out, regardless of whether you're elected or not, and these things might change, over time, who knows? It's just better just to say you're all town officers. That's it. And your modest change here is an important one, and it covers everybody.
But to
It-
going to
it-
Bill's point, because I originally had the same question in the document prior. In my experience, I think we need to define the term of officer.
Right.
because
Yeah.
It is actually not in C12 definitions, surprisingly enough.
right, I know, Russ, I called that out in the document of the original comments. Neither is committee or commissioner. I said that these should be defined under C1-2 definitions, because
Right.
an officer of a corporation has many more, and Bill's probably best to describe as liabilities, responsibilities, and obligations. So I originally said that would be a very, because as I went through the charter originally, that was something that I think gets, I wouldn't say it's woven through, but you don't know the definitions of the either of the two. So are all committees appointed or all commissions not appointed? Like it gets very, you have boards as well. So what are these defined terms? And so I think that was the original point of what I put in originally too, that we probably need to do a better definition, because we also have members who don't have to be electors or residents, but who do sit on committees. And that's where I think my comment comes in then up below. Yeah.
And a question I have, and it actually came up when we formed this commission, is protections as a person who is an officer, with which we brought up with council. Not only what are your responsibilities and what are you responsible for, but also, and I think it may be Connecticut general statute that defines that, but it's a fair point, and it's silent on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Silent here. Not maybe not in the statutes.
It may not be in the statutes, right? And the
Right.
statutes, it may be very well defined. So it may be a question for our legal counsel to provide
Yeah.
some insight upon whether it should be or should not.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm reading this right, ad hoc commissions can't have members of ad hoc commissions can't have the same responsibility as the first selectman, the treasurer, the town council. I mean, it's got to be legally. It's got to be, everybody's got to behave. Everybody's got to do the right thing. I got that.
And
So, yeah,
everybody has to
I just
operate
think
under
Nick,
the code of ethics.
yeah,
There's a
Nick,
code of
Nick,
ethics that we have to be responsible for. Yeah.
yeah, I think Nick should weigh in on this section here a little bit, is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Somebody.
Yeah, I would agree, because anybody who becomes an officer, as you all receive from Claudia, you get their big red book, which has all the code of ethics and policies and everything that you now are responsible to hold yourself to that standard.
I wonder why you get that book. Is that because that's the state, or is that because we call them officers, or is that because Claudia just has extra books?
Oh, come on.
I know. I'm just asking you. I mean,
You read them? You read it? No, we take an oath of office. We
I got
abide
that.
by
I
the
got
code
that.
of ethics. Yeah, no, I mean the book is, is that information online? Sure, but is it handy to provide it in the folder that she provides? Sure.
Yeah,
So
it provides the context for the responsibility you're
exactly.
taking when you take one of these positions. And it's interesting because it does have some of the FOIA stuff, and then there was some discussion about FOIA training in general, which was just offered, I think, last week by the town. So you're held to a higher standard, as you should be.
So I think, just to recap on this, I would say, an officer in a corporation, because the town is a corporation, has different obligations other than other entities. So we should get some definitions, as well as look at them definitions for committee and commissions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one for Nick.
Yeah.
And then
So
Jen, you took out the treasurer, or you moved the treasurer. Is
I
that right?
moved the treasurer below. So let me just give you guys a brief update there. I did go out and look at the rest of our charter to see the roles or the interchange of when treasurer is used or mentioned in the charter. Most of it, I would say 95% of it, is a part of their role, for instance, in relationship to the article that's being discussed. So let's just take the Board of Finance. It has the Board of Finance will give the treasurer. So it doesn't define unique properties to the treasurer. It's more of an interchange between the treasurer. This, to your point, I think last time was added in to the charter, but we probably could work with the treasurer and to figure out more definition and clarity on the role of treasurer. Yep. So I moved this, which you'll see to the bottom as a carve out.
Still under Article 2, though.
I just parked it at the bottom. Maybe
Okay.
it becomes its own article. I think that
Yeah.
might be tidier. In my viewpoint, having it as its own article would be very similar to how we treat other roles and responsibilities. And you could also make the same same argument on other, like the clerk type of routines. Yep.
And for those who really love reading, that the town treasurer, all of that comes out of this, which is Chapter 94 of Connecticut General Statutes. So
Yep.
just for a point of reference.
So my pick, and if you scroll to the bottom, sorry, I
Sure.
the drive this morning.
No problem.
Was
all the way to the bottom?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, right there. Got it.
TK means to come. Park it there, and then maybe add a couple more pieces, more citations to town treasurer. I put in town clerk for us to also say, do we want to go that route as well?
Don't we have town clerk already in the separate article?
I have to look again. But definitely, I think we need town treasurer.
Yeah, no. I hear you. Yeah. I'll come to it. Yeah. Okay.
The next section, C2-3, I just highlighted. I think there was a discussion yesterday about Kathleen, you had brought up the bare majority.
Yeah, at our last group meeting, I talked about how Group 1 is also sort of taking that up too. So it's enough that the full commission obviously this should be a discussion. Just for everybody's benefit, I encourage you to take a look at both the public packet and the discussion yesterday for Group 1. I think both are posted now. In this particular case, the question becomes, I'm hesitating how I'm saying this because people have, once they see what it means, it becomes certainly potentially a controversial thought, and that is, should a number of towns and commissions, and you did the research on this, Jen, I forget, it was Fairfield, maybe Weston, Westport, it's the three that were identified, but in any event, there's instead of the this minority representation that says, and there's a little chart in the report that they put together, that for a 5-member commission or board, no one party should have more than 4 people, 4 out of 5. For 6-member, it's also 4. When you get to 7, it's 5, etc. And so there's a chart that's under Connecticut state statutes. It's under minority representation, majority representation. And the question becomes, should we should we adopt a bare majority, which is permitted under state statutes, so that it could be, you can lower the ceiling, if you will, so that and I'll just use the number 5 because that's the smallest one, in the situation where a 5-member board is, that the maximum from any one party should not exceed the bare majority. And in that particular case, it would be 3. There would be no change in the case of 6, right? So 4 is correct. In 7, it would be no more than 4. So that would be the bare majority. In 8, there'd be no change there. And in 9, it would be no more than 5 members. So, and then more than 9, it's always 2/3. So under the bare majority, just as we've just reviewed, it would change in a couple situations. And so Group 1 took a look at, well, how many would this actually impact for the I don't know, they looked at 20 or so boards and commissions. Would there actually be an impact there? Have we reached more than bare majority? And then two, that is the situation. So I was both surprised and pleased to see that. So there is broader diversification in all the boards and commissions, with the exception of two. And there was a conversation. It was, well, you wouldn't want to, you'd want to not change that. Obviously, tell somebody not because there's a change. But this requires a broader discussion. The concept is, how do we offer the opportunity for more participation by unaffiliates, because it's not crowded out by members of a party. And there's both pluses and minuses about that. Some people are very adamant, no, if you're in the party, that's you're going to be seated. But as everyone knows here, unaffiliates represent the majority of voters here in New Canaan. And with this particular process, which is the bare majority allocation of no more than that number for any party, would that enable folks from the unaffiliated group a better opportunity to participate? So it goes broader than that in terms of what's our process of welcoming people to submit their application for an open seat, and I don't think that needs to be codified in the charter, but it would be a great ordinance or practice, as it is in some other towns. But that's the question before all of us on the commission, whether minority representation should be considered to be bare majority. And it's open for
Yeah, and Kathleen, I think you hit a really big point of that, which is how much of this could be done by ordinance to make it the mechanics. They have to have a process where they have to be heard, right? That it can't just be shut down, at the first selectman's office if they decided not to bring it forward. Not saying that's happening now, but using it as an example.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
actually researched this to see if this was in any charters. I think, Kathleen, you had called out Fairfield having a formal process. I did not find the process
On
in
their website.
in any of the charters that I looked at for filling vacancies on appointed.
Yeah, it's not in their charter, but it's in their practice on their website.
Right, but it wasn't exactly. So it wasn't in any of those that normally have a common, at least, discussion about how you fill appointed seats, not just through the selectman's office, but then referring them to the town council, etc. So, yeah.
Let me find what the number of towns that currently use bare majority. Anyway, the fact that both this group and Group 1 are talking about it, I'd like to see this. And it is it's a healthy dialogue. It's Westport, Fairfield, and Weston. In terms of Fairfield counties, how they handle it is they limit the representation of any political party on an appointed board, so not elected, appointed board to no more than bare majority.
And I did find, though, in the charter of Fairfield, for instance, appointed positions have term limits.
Yeah.
So in Fairfield County, Fairfield, City of Fairfield, Town of Fairfield, sorry, they only allow 2 concurrent terms for an appointed position. You come off, you can wait a year, and then you can come back, you could then go back out to try to be on that same board or commission. Yeah. So I think what they've also done is to keep appointed at least moving, right, and add new people and add more people. They've implemented as well the term limit type of position.
Yeah.
Maybe we've
Only
done
unappointed.
maybe we've done this, but maybe we could go back and, or maybe I should go back and just refresh my memory as who's on the various commissions and boards we have in terms of representation. because, maybe, because what I sort of recall the first selectman saying and others saying is that they appoint non-affiliated voters, they appoint Republicans, they appoint Democrats, so
Pull that
do
up,
we have
Ross.
that?
Yeah,
Do
there's
we?
a report under the public packet for Group 1,
Okay.
yesterday's meeting, and
Mhm.
all
Let's
the
see if we
board
can pull that up.
positions
Yeah.
are listed.
Well, I'll go
Total-
back. We don't have to go off, but I'm really just getting at is that I think there was a suggestion that this is pretty much happening in practice anyway. So we had to look at
Yeah.
that, and then we ought to take a look at what the other towns are doing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good report. It's I think shows that it's very healthy in terms of working. And we're only 2 of the commissions actually are greater than the bare majority.
There you go.
I will go back though and look. I didn't go through them. If the other towns that do use bare majority also have appointed term limits.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Okay, I would recommend, okay, let's keep going on Article 2 then, and then we'll, I
Yep.
think, but I
Yep.
think there's a lot of interest in this topic and we want to bring it up to the full commission for discussion.
So I think I'm going to have to, because I think we were supposed to stop on the hour, right? Did I
Yep.
read that right?
You know what? I think this is a natural good break. We can come back
The only
to
point I'm
our.
saying is that I'm working on not getting a divorce, so I just.
Let's put that in the charter, absolutely.
Okay, so let's just wrap up. So we've gotten through fire, we got through ethics, which is great. We'll put some brackets around things. If anyone has any other comments or changes, if you can send them in and I will aggregate them before I do that, that would be helpful. We'll continue to work through section 2, article 2, which is what we were just on. And then I will in turn send around conservation, which was on our list. And we will also go back and look at audit. Now, I think we had agreed to take audit out of finance because it's in there embedded
Right.
and put it as its own. Bill, can I ask you, as you're not getting divorced and sitting around and thinking, what we could put into the audit article that, and I can send you an excerpt of what the audit article looks like without all the interweavings of the finance. There's just a couple things. Get your input there.
Let's
That was
get
a yes. That was a
everyone-
yes. That was a yes. Yep.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
get
super.
everyone's input on that, Jennifer.
Yeah. Oh no, everyone can, but I'm just, when we extract it and Bill has lived it, he's basically has some firsthand experience.
For sure.
All right. And then I will go out to ZBA members and get that set up. And then we have this afternoon at 3:30 to 4. And then I think I will created a tracker I will send around to us of our articles and where we are at on that. And
then Jen, just on your calendar, and we can we can adjourn, but just on your calendar, so I just want to make sure we don't, I know this is, it's on the government calendar, but on this one, does that show, that's not currently showing this afternoons, but I just want to confirm, is that the only one that we just haven't identified, or all Thursday afternoons going to be time allotted? This is for, maybe I misread, Thursday, oh, I see, I'm sorry, forgive me, I see it's 3:30 and 4 o'clock are on there, okay.
Yep.
I'm missing, I guess, the morning one. Is this just for the interview process?
just for the interviews. I can add the other ones, but
No, that's fine. Okay, these are just for the interviews.
those were really just for interviews.
Got it.
Yep.
And as I
But
said,
we've just got interviews there as well.
Yeah, I'll try to join you this afternoon. I will, but I may not be there. So good.
Okay, no worries. All right, so a
Thanks,
motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Great.
All right.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
thanks, Jen. See you this afternoon.